The Galactic Council's emergency session had been called for the first time in 3 millennia. Representatives from 47 species huddled in their environmental pods, their various forms of communication creating a cacophony of clicks, whistles, and electromagnetic pulses that the universal translators struggled to process. Zeftar, the current speaker for the council, extended his crystalline appendages to call for order. His species, the Velnari, were among the most ancient in the galaxy, having achieved spaceflight when most worlds were still cooling from stellar formation. "The signal," Zeftar began, his voice resonating through the chamber's atmosphere, "originated from the third planet of a yellow dwarf star in the Orion Arm. Our long-range sensors detected it 17 cycles ago." A collective shudder ran through the assembly. The Orion Arm was notorious throughout the galaxy, a region where only the most desperate or foolhardy ventured. It was a stellar graveyard of failed civilizations, where the gravitational anomalies alone could tear apart most known ship designs. "Show us," requested Krethak, the insectoid representative whose species had survived by being the galaxy's most cautious explorers. The chamber's central display activated, showing a blue-green marble suspended in the void. Even from the sanitized recording, the assembled delegates could sense something wrong with this world. Its magnetic field fluctuated wildly. Radiation levels that should have sterilized the surface instead seemed to strengthen it, and the atmospheric composition was a toxic cocktail that would kill most known life forms in minutes. "The inhabitants call their world Earth," Zeftar continued. "They call themselves humans." The recording shifted to show the signal itself, a transmission that had somehow punched through the cosmic background radiation with impossible clarity. It wasn't the usual mathematical sequence that most emerging civilizations sent out. Instead, it was chaotic, emotional, and utterly alien in its intensity. The message began with what the analysis computers had identified as music, complex arrangements of sound that seemed to serve no logical purpose. Then came voices, speaking in dozens of different languages, often overlapping, sometimes arguing. The transmission was a cacophony of human experience, laughter, crying, anger, joy, all broadcast into the void with reckless abandon. "They're advertising their location," whispered Velana, the moth-like delegate from Serenity Prime. Her species had evolved on a world so peaceful that they had never developed the concept of conflict. "Don't they know about the Devourers, the Harkesh Empire?" The most disturbing part of the transmission came next. Humans had included recordings of their conflicts, the thunderous roar of their weapons, the mechanical grinding of their war machines, the passionate speeches of their leaders rallying for battle. Most shocking of all were their entertainment broadcasts, stories where they glorified violence, celebrated struggle, and seemed to revel in adversity. "Analysis suggests they've only achieved atomic energy within the last century," Zeftar reported, his crystalline structure dimming with what his species expressed as deep concern. "Yet they've already begun weaponizing quantum mechanics and have theoretical frameworks for dimensional manipulation." Mordek, the silicon-based delegate from the Forge worlds, shifted his massive bulk. His people were among the most durable in the galaxy, evolved from living rock, yet even he seemed unnerved. "Their planet, the gravity is nearly 3 times that of most inhabited worlds. The atmospheric pressure would crush most of our species, and the life forms." The display showed Earth's ecosystem, predators that hunted in packs, creatures that could survive in boiling water or freezing void, plants that could dissolve metal, and fungi that could break down virtually any organic compound. It was a nightmare, world that seemed designed to forge the ultimate survivors. They keep some of these death beasts as companions, Mordak continued, his voice stones grinding with disbelief. They call them pets. Dr. Yixpol, the healer prime from the medical conclave, accessed her databanks with nervous energy. Their biology is impossible. They generate their own heat through metabolic processes so violent it should consume them. Their healing factor allows them to recover from injuries that would be fatal to most species. And their psychological profiles— She paused, her tentacles writhing in distress. They don't just survive trauma, they seek it out. They call it adventure or sports. They intentionally put themselves in danger for entertainment. The chamber fell silent except for the ambient life support systems. Finally, Ambassador Thelcor, the eldest delegate from the Peaceful Union, spoke in his ancient, whispered tones. In my 4,000 years, I have seen civilizations rise and fall. I have witnessed the birth of stars and the death of empires. But never have I encountered a species that broadcasts its existence so boldly while simultaneously advertising its capacity for violence. Zeftar's form brightened, his species equivalent of a grim smile. The transmission included mathematical proofs, artistic expressions, and scientific achievements. They're not primitive. They're simply different. They've turned their death world into a cradle that births warriors who think like scientists and scientists who fight like warriors. What do we do? Asked Krethak, his mandibles clicking anxiously. Do we make contact? Do we warn them of the dangers in the galaxy? Or, Mordak rumbled ominously, do we warn the galaxy about them? The question hung in the chamber's atmosphere like a toxic cloud. Every delegate understood the implications. Humanity had emerged from a world that would kill most galactic citizens just by existing on it. They had built their civilization through struggle, conflict, and an apparently inexhaustible drive to overcome impossible odds. Zeftar consulted the quantum probability engines. The calculations were disturbing. In every scenario where humanity expanded beyond their world, they didn't just survive the galaxy's dangers, they thrived on them. I propose, Zeftar said slowly, that we do nothing. We observe. We wait. And we hope that when they inevitably reach the stars, they remember that not all species are forged in the furnaces of death worlds. The vote was unanimous. The Galactic Council would watch and wait, because for the first time in their collective memory, they had encountered a species that might be more dangerous than the void itself. In the depths of space, Earth continued its ancient rotation, unaware that its simple message of, "Hello, we are here," had become the galaxy's most terrifying wake-up call. Humanity had introduced themselves to the cosmos, and the cosmos was very, very afraid.